Okay, now here we go. This is probably the easiest part of anything that we've done so far, and probably the most satisfying, anyway, part of anything that we've done so far with this. This is what we've been building up for, and this is the putting the bullet on top of the cartridge, and that's the final step, other than the inspection afterwards to make sure that everything looks good. The final inspection, and then we put it away until we get ready to shoot it. Okay, so what I've done is I've done a bunch already. Uh, I've got some left to do, and some of the ones that I've done, I've made a mistake on. I look at it again, and it's like, well, I made a mistake putting the primer on. The primer is crooked, or the primer is a little bent, or the primer, whatever was wrong with it. And some of it, when I put the bullet on, I either put the bullet on when I was adjusting the die, I put the bullet on too shallow, or I put, well, too shallow is okay because you can always push it down further, but I pushed the bullet down too far, or there was some places where the opening to the neck was too big. So when I put the bullet on, it went whoop, and fell right down inside the casing. So what I have to do is, a good thing about this is that you can redo them. I mean, it's just go through the process again, and you can redo them. I'm trying to think some of the things that we. So in order to get the bullet out, you get yourself a bullet puller. This is a bullet puller here, and the way that it works is there's a set of rings inside this that you can you put one that's appropriate for the type of bullet that you're using. They're on a rubber band, so it keeps it together, so that you can use it. I messed with it. All right. So what you do is you would take your bullet puller. You take this little ring thing and you put it on a little bit. Now what this is going to do is, there's different ones. There's 3 of them for the different types of cartridges that you have, whether they're the ribbed cartridges or larger cartridges, or this here, the Carcano size. This works, 30 caliber and whatever, all work the same thing. So if you look inside, there's the hole. So then you just stick this in far enough that it catches on the ring. And you tighten this down, and then you bang it. I'm not going to do that. It's 3:45, and I'm not going to wake my wife up banging this thing. But you bang it on a hard surface. They recommend not cement or whatever. They recommend that you use. I go out to the wood pile and I just bang it on the end of one of the logs that we have out there in the wood pile, and it takes 1 or 2 hits, and it'll come out. The good thing about this is that when it happens, it comes out into this area here, and when you pull it out, you have just the cartridge. The bullet obviously is gone, and so is the gunpowder, but the bullet and the gunpowder are inside here. So you get to reuse the bullet, and you get to reuse the gunpowder again. So it saves you a little bit there. The problem with the bullets that I have are they have the polymer tip on them, and the polymer tip gets bent during the process, so the bullet itself is no good for anything. So, but if you weren't using the polymer tip, you'd be able to reuse the bullet again. So I did that. I had 4 of them that I had to redo. So, all right, now we're going to go over to the loading press, and the loading press is what it has on it is the what do they call it, the bullet seating die. Okay, bullet seating die looks very similar to the sizing die. The cartridge goes up inside, and you've already adjusted this to the height of the cartridge itself. Then you have this that sits on top, And what it is it's a little cup. So when the cartridge comes up, the bullet itself gets inside this cup, and it's only allowed to go up so far, and that's what adjusts the height of the bullet inside the cartridge itself. Now the height is important for several reasons. Number one, like everything else that we do, we want to make sure that it's uniform. We want to make sure that all of the cartridges are uh, the same length, because that way they're I mean, otherwise you'd be shooting out ones that are different lengths, and there'd be no consistency as far as where your aim is going, etc. Accuracy is what I'm looking for. So if you put it in and the bullet's not in far enough and it's sticking out, that causes problems. Number one, your cartridge might not fit inside the magazine. You know, magazines are only so long, and if you have your cartridge too long, then what happens is it won't fit inside there. The other thing is it secure? Is it secure inside the cartridge? I mean, is it going to fall out? Is it going to? I mean, that's one of the questions too that you have to ask yourself. You know, when handling it, does it have enough is friction inside the neck that it is going to hold it? The other thing is you don't want your bullet sitting on top of oh the area where your rifling starts. I can't remember the name of it. The you have your chamber and it goes out, and then there's a little space there before your rifling starts. And what you don't want is you don't want the bullet to be sitting on top of the rifling. You want it to have a little bit of a head start before it hits the rifling. That affects accuracy also. Um, and if it's too short, well, one of the problems with having it too short of a cartridge is if the bullet sits down inside too far, then that decreases the volume of the space inside the cartridge, so that when you have your gunpowder and your gunpowder is ignited, it won't have the space that it needs to expand, and that'll cause an increase in pressure inside the cartridge itself, and that can be a problem. That can be a serious problem um, with an overpressurized cartridge. So what we got to do is make sure that when we're doing this, that the cartridges are all the same size, and the bullets sitting inside each cartridge the way that it's supposed to. Okay, so let's see if I can do this. I've tried this 3 or 4 times already, and the sound, for some reason, I guess on my HP uh, microphone doesn't seem to like it too much if you are at an angle. So I'm going to try to do the best I can here, and if I all right, how's that? That should be okay. So I'm going to talk up a little bit too. Maybe that might help. Move over this way here, so more in line, more facing the the press itself. Now this is the press here. We've seen this press already. This is the press that we used when we put our primers on. The little doodad there for that. But today what we're going to be using the bullet seating die. We've explained to what's inside of it. So how do you set this so that you make sure that you get all of your cartridges the same size? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a cartridge of a known size, and I'm going to adjust this thing. I'm going to get out of the way. So what you do is, with everything loosened up, you put your cartridge up inside like that. Ooh, that could hurt. So there you go. So then you're going to adjust this down till it's tight. And back it out a little bit, turn it just a little bit more. They say 1/8, and then you're going to tighten this up. There you go. That's in there. So then what I want to do is I want to take and put this and tighten it to the top of the bullet. so that because what you're doing is you're pushing the bullet up against the top of the seating die. So then you pull it back out, and we're going to measure this. And it measures 0.286. So what we want to do is we're going to loosen that up a little bit. All right, now we're just going to load them and see the next one and see where we're sitting at. Bullet here. So we put that on top. Put our bullet on top. And there it is. Measure. Put 285. Actually, that's still a little bit more. Perfect. Now, one of the problems that I ran into when I was doing these, and I'm not sure, I still have to investigate why it happened, because it didn't happen to all of them, it only happened to some of them, is that the opening was too big. Not by a lot, but enough that, well, this one, it's just a little bit, no, that'll do. Okay, never mind. There we go. In there good and tight. Maybe this is the one. Oops. So what happened is the hole is a little bit too big. See, in the bullet, when I put it on there, it falls inside and it ends up inside with the gunpowder. And then you have to dump it out, and it becomes a mess. Oh, I don't know why it does it sometimes. I'm going to have to do some research, and if anybody has any ideas as to why that happens, then please let me know. So what I've done to counter that is, I know that up inside here that it's going to pinch the neck a little bit, and it's going to so that it'll help with the friction on the cartridge itself. So what I do is I put the empty one up the side, not all the way up, just a little bit. And that tightens it up. Tighten that one up. Okay. Tightens it up. Okay. These things finicky sometimes trying to get that up inside that. Well, and there we go. Measure that again. 2.855555. Okay. So I guess it works for me. I'm not sure how it works for how it would work for others, but it works well for me to do that rather than, because you know, you do 50 cartridges and you're zipping along and you're loading bullets on top of them, and you come up against one that's loose, and you could either take it back to the reloading die, I mean to the sizing die, but it's cold out there. So what I did instead was just ran it up inside there, and it just tightens the top up just a little bit, and it allows you to do it. So now all my cartridges are the same size. The bullets are sticking out the same right length. The brass is the same size as they all are, and there we have it. Once you get this thing set up, you can just start pumping them out real quick, and you can be done. The last stage is I take each cartridge and once again I give it a good look over. I make sure that the primer is still the way it's supposed to be. I make sure that there's no cracks, that there's no dents, that there's no dings, um, and then it's ready to go. I fired a couple of them yesterday because I'm anxious to see how they going to perform. I haven't been able to go out to the range yet. Um, we had about 4 or 5 inches of snow. The snow's gone now because it rained yesterday, but it's just not it's nasty weather to go out there and do some shooting. Um, but I'll get out there to the range and see how they do. But like I said, with those Carcanos that I have, there's really not a whole lot of rifling, so they're not going to be that accurate. My Carcano rifle, the full size rifle, has good rifling in it, and I may take that out and see what I can do as far as zeroing that in. Um, the It's been fun putting these bullet cartridges together. It's been very interesting, and I've learned a lot. There's been a lot of like everything else with my projects. The first couple of times doing it, I end up with a lot of waste and a lot of cost and a lot of money. Sometimes it'd be better to have somebody to show me how to do it, but um, it's all right. That's the way we do things here. So, um, and anyway, well, thank you very much for watching the series on reloading. Like I said, it's been interesting, and if you have any questions, suggestions, um, whatever, please let me know. Write me, and I'll write you back. You make a comment, I'll write you back on a comment, and so forth. And, if there's something in here that you have a question that you want to see a better example of it or whatever, I can do that too. I mean, this is what I do. But well, it's almost 4 in the morning now. Um, this is what I do at 3 in the morning, 2 in the morning. I work on my guns, and that's and now gun related stuff. So anyway, well, thank you very much for watching.